everyone! In today's video, I'm going to share my top 5 styling tips for how to dress more professionally. Now, these aren't going to be your typical tips on wear a neutral colored suit and keep your accessories to a minimum. It's not that that's wrong, but it's not very much fun either. I personally love fashion and beauty, and I feel restricted when I'm only wearing neutral color, very simple types of things in my wardrobe. So over the last 15 years that I've worked in a corporate environment, I've found several surefire ways, perhaps less obvious ways, to be able to straddle that line between professional and modern, and I'm going to share those with you today. But first, let me just take a quick moment to welcome you to my channel. If you're new, I'm really glad you could join me today, and I hope if you like my content, you'll consider subscribing. If you're not new, welcome back. Glad you could join me again. But now, back to the video. I think we've seen that in most office environments, the dress has gotten more casual and approachable over time, and really that's a good thing. But that doesn't mean that you should or that it's even a good idea to dress in that more casual manner all the time. I think that old motto really holds true, that dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. A lot of times, if you dress more professionally, your boss takes you more seriously, you just come across with a much more confident, formidable presence, and you probably even perform better on the job, all because of how you dress. But professional dressing can be a little intimidating, or at the very least, a little boring sometimes. But with a few style tips to keep in mind, you can definitely master how to dress with a professional edge. So let's start with my first tip, and that's keeping the rule of threes in mind. And basically what that means is you should have 3 major pieces to your wardrobe. So your bottoms, your top, and then something over that. So of course your bottoms can be a dress or pants. Your top can be, some kind of blouse, and then something over that can include a jacket, a cardigan, a sweater, potentially even a vest. Now, if you wear a dress, you can kind of consider your dress 2 items because it really is your bottoms and your top in one. So then you would just still throw on that cardigan or that jacket or something on top. Now, you certainly don't need to dress like this every single day, but it can be good to do it on key days where you're meeting with your boss, you have a big presentation, you're meeting with vendors, whatever it is. These are the great times to really keep this rule of 3 in mind, because you look just a little bit more pulled together and polished when you have something on over that top. So I'll show you just a couple of examples. I like to wear jackets mostly because I find the office environment is really cold all the time. So, something like this is going to be a little bit more formal. I actually have pants that match this, but most of the time I just wear this with navy pants or even a navy pencil skirt. So that keeps it from looking too rigid because I'm really doing separates, but I still have the presence that a jacket provides. Of course, you don't have to take it that formal. You can also do something, say more like this. This is an oversized, more boyfriend type blazer. Make it a little bit more casual by rolling up the sleeves. And of course, it's this beautiful pale pink color. And this is something new that I actually picked up from Loft just about a month ago. So I'll link that if I can still find it. But this is another great way to really pull an outfit together by throwing on this jacket over maybe an otherwise simple top. But of course, it doesn't have to be a jacket. You can always throw on a cardigan or some other sweater. Probably most people have a good black cardigan in their wardrobe. It's just a good basic staple. So if you don't have one, I definitely recommend getting one. And this one's nice because this one's in silk. So it does have just a little bit nicer feel than, say, just a regular cotton one. But I can throw this on with most of my outfits, and it's going to instantly make me look more professional without really adding that much more effort. But if you work in a more casual environment where jeans are allowed, or even if you just have jeans Fridays, then you can also do this very easily then. This is a great example of a top that I like to wear on a Friday. It's a little bit bolder print, and depending on your environment, you may or may not want to wear something quite like this throughout the work week. I actually do, but it's also really great with blue jeans, and I can throw it on with a simple tee or even a top like this, and it's just going to elevate that casual outfit and make sure that I look my best even though I'm still dressed cool and casual like the rest of the office. Styling tip number 2 is to keep patterns and bright prints to a minimum, at least on those days where you want to look a little more professional. Now, I love a good pattern play, and I do mix my patterns at work, and I do enjoy wearing bright colors at work. But for days where I am trying to exude that more professional demeanor, those are the days where I really am going to make sure that I stick to maybe one item that's a print or one item that's a little bit bolder or brighter of a color. So for instance, I'll insert a picture of one of my favorite tops right now, that's this gorgeous bright yellow color with floral. But although I can wear that with a simple pair of black pants, for a day where I might be having a big meeting, I'll probably use that as an opportunity to throw on that black cardigan or maybe even a black jacket just to tone everything down a bit. Tip number 3. This may seem like an obvious one, but I'm amazed at how many people don't seem to pay attention to this, and that is to make sure that your clothes are always in good shape. This includes making sure that your clothes are pressed or ironed, or making sure that nothing looks frayed or discolored. So I have an example of a top right here that's from last season, and this is a nice ivory top, and I get a lot of wear out of tops like this in my wardrobe every summer. But because of the color, it becomes dingy and it starts to stain. So I end up needing to get a new top every year, and I've actually gotten my new top to replace this one, but because I hadn't actually gotten rid of this one, I just thought I'd show you. A lot of times what happens, and it happens slowly, so this is why you don't actually notice it, is the cuffs will start to maybe get a little bit brown or gray because you're skimming tables and other surfaces with it. The collars will start to get a little bit jagged, and you'll even experience a little bit of discoloration either from makeup products, self-tanning products, whatever it is. But because it happens gradually, you might not even realize that it's happening if you don't take a chance to step back and actually examine your clothes. So make sure you're doing that. And also, don't forget about your shoes. Shoes get scuffed, the heel caps come off, things like that. So be sure that you're taking care of your shoes. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to take my shoes into a shoe cobbler, which can actually be a little hard to find a shoe cobbler these days, but I take my shoes into the shoe cobbler every now and again. I'll get the heel caps replaced, and then a service that at least my cobbler throws in, but you could at least ask for, maybe pay for separately if yours doesn't, is also get them to go ahead and buff up or shine your shoes, so that way if you have any place where maybe you've scuffed the leather or whatever, that gets buffed out or polished with the same color so you don't notice it anymore. And it's amazing how just making sure you keep a very tidy appearance will really help you channel that inner girl boss. My 4th styling tip is to make sure that your clothes fit well. Nothing makes you look more schleppy or like you're potentially playing dress up in your mother's closet to have clothes that don't fit well. And that means, of course, too tight, but also too loose. So it can be hard to find clothes that fit well all the time. So I think a great thing to do is really take the time to find a good tailor. So if you can't find clothes that just fit your body well, make sure that you build in the cost of tailoring into your clothing budget so you can really make sure that you get that crisp fit on clothes, at least where they need to fit well. And once again, this is something that might change over time, where when you buy something, it might fit really well at first and you just keep wearing it, but over time, if your weight fluctuates, maybe a change in season, you've got a different exercise routine, you may not appreciate that your clothes are fitting differently. So be sure to take a look at yourself in a full-length mirror from the front, and also try to get a look from the back to make sure your clothes is fitting as well as possible. And last, be mindful of what I like to call your peripherals. This is things like your hair, your makeup, your nails. After you've gone to all the trouble to put together a nice outfit, make sure it fits you well and looks good on you, the last thing you want to do is ruin it by having something else on you not be keeping up to that standard. I'm amazed sometimes how it looks like someone literally rolled out of bed, they got in the shower, they washed their hair, and then put on their clothes and came straight to work. So their hair might still be damp when they get to work and they don't have any makeup on. Now, I'm not saying that everybody needs to wear a full face of makeup every day. I realize for a lot of us that's not what we want to do. It may not be realistic with your lifestyle or the amount of stuff that you have going on. But really, nothing makes a professional outfit look less professional than if the rest of you looks like you're getting ready for a casual Saturday out running errands to the grocery store. So make sure that you do style your hair to some extent. You know, that includes making sure it's dry before you come to work and that you've taken a brush through it, or, you know, whatever your style is. Put on some amount of makeup. If you don't like to put on makeup, you can keep it really simple. Put on something like a BB cream that has a good tint to it. Maybe fill in your brows, add a little bit of mascara and a lip gloss, and that's really all you need. And you can easily do that in about 3 minutes. And then think about your nails. At the very least, keep your nails trimmed and somewhat manicured, which doesn't mean it has to include polish. But if you are going to wear polish, opt for more neutral types of colors and make sure that it's not chipped. So this is a color that I like to wear that makes my fingers just look a little bit longer because it's very neutral. Plus, if I do get an ever so slight chip, it's not something that you really notice. But I'm not saying you have to paint your nails. Just make sure that, you know, you're taking some kind of care of your nails. And then one bonus tip, which isn't really a styling tip, but it is a good tip in general, and that is to be mindful of your posture. Once again, you don't want to go to all this trouble to pull together a great outfit and be thoughtful about all of your peripherals to then sit, you know, all hunched over, or, you know, when you're standing, to not stand erect and tall with your shoulders back. All these other tips really go out the window if you don't maintain good posture and you don't look confident. So there you have my top 5 styling tips for how to dress professionally. I hope you find this information helpful. If so, or if you just like the video, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell if you haven't already. Until next time, bye.